How's it going, everybody? For today's beer review, we're going to be taking a look at Epic Brewing Company's Big Bad Baptist, an Imperial Stout. How's it going, everybody? For today's beer review, we're going to be taking a look at Epic Brewing Company's Big Bad Baptist. I'm here with Hunter, once again doing a two-man review. Hunter.
Well, it's just it's been a while since I've been around. We just moved. There's a change of scenery,
As you can see.
and then we're probably going to be adventuring a little bit with this because it's a pretty nice space.
It's opened up some new possible film locations for reviews, especially with different seasons, I think. Maybe
Yeah.
some outdoor stuff even. We'll see.
We'll see how it progresses.
But yeah, you know, he's settling in now, so he'll be back again. I know you probably missed him. Anyway, so if you remember watching a few videos back when we went on our beer adventure to Dallas, we purchased a bunch of beer, of course, but one of the most special ones, and so I've been seeing a whole lot about on the internet, is Big Bad Baptist. Now, I've never drank anything by Epic before. You said you think you have, or
I think that I may have, but it was just one of those situations where I didn't know what I had.
it was just a beer.
And it was just
randomly.
it was a random. It was like a little pick six, and it just looked interesting.
So for sure for me, first time drinking from Epic Brewing, so this will be kind of where I judge them on, but I have a feeling this is going to be a very positive review. Just to read you some information, these are different batch releases. Mine is release number 37, which comes in at 12.5% alcohol by volume, and it says SLC number is 2033, and below that it says charming. I don't know if
You have a lot more written on mine. I have a release number 40 with an 11.5% alcohol, so definitely a little bit of a difference. And I have a DIN number of 1977.
And there's not a word?
No, there's not a word.
I wonder if charming is like, if they named this batch or something.
They could have named the batches. I
don't know.
Because see, mine has a DIN number, which makes me think maybe these were. This is also aged in whiskey barrels, so that could pertain to where they were in the brewery when they were aged, what type of barrel they were aged in.
Yeah, it could definitely.
There are a lot of variables there that we just don't know.
And the commercial description, it says it is an Imperial Stout with cocoa nibs and coffee added and aged in whiskey barrels. And the commercial description over here says, "You are holding something special. One of only a few thousand bottles released. Intrigued? Visit epicbrewing.com to explore this limited brew's precise details." So, something special, as I said earlier. Does yours say anything different, or
no? That's
same thing?
Holding something special.
Okay.
Every night.
We're both going to be drinking out of the Duvel. That's the brand, at least. But we're going to be drinking out of these. They're snifter glasses. It's what I use for big beers and like special stuff. So I guess let's get the cap off of these.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's see here.
And do the pour and smell and taste. I'm going to pop mine off careful because I don't have a cap by these guys.
All right. So let me get the keys, Mark.
I guess you would need these probably. Jesus, I'm smelling alcohol already, at least to me.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm getting. Ooh. Let me pour it before I start giving my sniff analysis.
My synopsis.
my sniff
Straight up, just like jet black, straight out of the bottle. I'm gonna pour this super aggressive because it's not gonna hardly do anything. I bet.
You know, I'm actually getting pretty good bubbles come up. Nice dark mahogany. Maybe a bit darker than mahogany, but it is just black. And I am not. You aren't not even on the edges. You're not seeing anything coming through there.
That's it. It's pitch black. The head is super dark. It's pretty much to the level where I start to call. It's not quite orangish brown like burnt caramel, but it's almost there. Like ridiculously dark tan. Formed about a finger of super duper thick creamy head.
It is.
Oh, man.
That is coffee.
It's like spicy aromatic coffee grounds. And like really good coffee too. This isn't like, you know, just some Folgers stuff. This is like good coffee.
Yeah. Go down to Colombia and just stick your face in some
the
beans.
freshest beans you can find.
That's this.
It's got, for me, I can definitely smell a bunch of whiskey in it.
I'm not getting any whiskey. Yours has a higher alcohol percent per volume, so maybe that could be it.
It was more, when I smelled it at a distance, up close, that coffee is really reigning supreme.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm getting. It's just the coffee. It's super.
Yeah, the coffee is like the big thing on this. I guess I'm ready to taste it.
Yeah, I am too. Oh, coffee.
Oh, man. Oh, God. That's good shit.
For as much coffee as there is,
It's not overly bitter.
I was going to say it's not overly bitter. Not something that, maybe if you're not into darker roasts, it's not something that would necessarily ward you away.
Exhale. It's just like, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get I'm trying to get it out. What it tastes like for you. For me, up front, it's like sweet, almost kind of cream, which fades into like super bittersweet dark chocolate. Tons of roasted coffee. I mean, like that's once again the big center point. But I want to make a point that when you have stouts that advertise that are going to be, you know, a coffee stout, a lot of times it's like very bitter, striking coffee. Like if you've had McKellar's Beer Geek, or if you've had Founder's Breakfast Stout, it's like black coffee. This is more like something you get from Starbucks. Like it's a sweeter mocha would be the word for it. It's like mocha.
It's a nice mellow roast.
Yeah, it's definitely got some sweetened. It's sweetened up a little bit, so it's not like black.
I've been doing this a lot, where I'm just licking the top of my lips, because a lot of the sweetness is retained there. Like I'm getting a real sweet on my lips. Try it. Just do it.
Yeah,
It's sweet, isn't it?
it is. It's very sweet.
It's something I totally noticed on accident.
But let me make a point that it's not cloyingly sweet. It's definitely got bitterness that balances the sweetness. So I wouldn't call it like an overly like dessert chocolatey beer. It's definitely a good balance between bitterness and sweetness. Now, as far as whiskey barrels goes,
Yeah,
I'm getting the burn from that. Like I'm getting a good alcohol burn. And when I first cracked the bottle open, I personally got wafts of whiskey out. The coffee is definitely, if there is any whiskey, the coffee is definitely like overpowering it. And not in a bad way, just...
I think yours out of the bottle smells a little different than mine as well, too.
One thing I am noticing, and a lot of times on whiskey barrel stouts, you'll have it where there's almost like a creamy, like butterscotch is not the word. It's like 1% butterscotch, and that can be due in part to whiskey. So maybe up front, if I smell it while I'm like drinking it, I get a little whiskey. I think more or less doing it in the whiskey barrels may have just helped round out some flavors with like the wood, rather than add and impart whiskey taste into this. It could also be that these bottles have been aging for a while, because there's no date on there, and some of the whiskey taste may have aged out. Because the circumstance where we got these from were we were in a liquor store, and a guy had some he had set back because he kind of holds on to a couple of like special stuff that comes in, and he allowed us to purchase some of the special stuff from him. And we had a few at the bar, so I didn't really think to ask how long have you been holding on to this, because it was a stout. I saw how high the ABV was. I wasn't worried about it going bad, and it's definitely not going bad. But it may have been sitting for a very long time. In fact, after this, as soon as we finish filming, I'm going to look it up and see where this batch lies on the year. Because this could be something real old for all I know.
Yeah.
But rating this in the style, I would probably give it about, probably like a 90 to a 92. I would give it a low A on the style. And that's strictly because the style promised is a bourbon barrel stout, and it's very good as a stout, but I would have liked more whiskey. Now, overall, me personally, just how I liked it, I would rate this, I'm not going to lie to you, I would probably give it about a 95 out of 100. I've definitely had some stouts that were, a little bit better, but this is definitely up there, like in my top 50 stouts. Like, this is great stuff to me. So yeah, low A in the style. It could have been more representative of what it said on the label. And then just overall, I enjoyed it a lot. About a 95 for me.
I would also like to point out that it just says Imperial Stout.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it doesn't say bourbon barrel aged.
Oh, well, it says whiskey barrel.
Well, it says it was aged in whiskey barrel. I feel like you're being harsh. For an Imperial Stout, and as far as it goes, I'm not a huge coffee fan, but this is very drinkable to me. The bitterness is low. The taste is sweet. But not so much so that I feel like I'm drinking like an Angry Orchard.
Right.
So I feel like for me, I'm going to go with about a 95 as well. Mid A, maybe not an A plus, but this is definitely something. This is definitely something that I'm looking forward to finishing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I guess I'm a little more critical on it when they say, and that's something I'd like to actually point out just for all of you, I guess, really, and I guess I can kind of take my own advice here, but just because something says, I guess, it's aged in whiskey barrels, doesn't necessarily always, I guess, mean that it's going to have, lots of whiskey in the taste. It can definitely mean that it adds like an oakiness, or it just does something else to the flavors that whatever the brewmaster wanted it to do. It's just whenever I see something labeled as being, I guess, whiskey barrel, I want it to have whiskey in it. And I've had beers where they have a ton of whiskey in them.
Yeah.
So that's why I give it a low A on it, just because it says it. That's what I want. Yeah.
I feel like it was misrepresented.
I feel like just a hair misrepresented. And like I said, I didn't do my research, so I could be totally wrong. And that's why I like to give it an overall score, too, in case I'm wrong.
In case you're wrong.
Really good stuff, though. If you can get your hands on it, like I said, we were able to find it. We weren't really looking for it. It was just there. But it seems pretty exclusive. It has batch numbers and everything. So my closing statement is if you're into stouts and you can get your hands on this and you find it, try it. It's very good. And hold on to it. This stuff will age like for years to come.
Yeah.
I wish I had bought another one to age, honestly. But anyway, that's been our review of Epic Brewing Company's Big Bad Baptist Imperial Stout. Hope you guys enjoyed the beer review as always, and stay tuned for the next one. Doing that big sip.